Hey, what's up, garden friends? Kevin Jordan here from the Green Acres Garden Podcast. Today, I'm at my good friend Linda Knoll's house. She is a Master Rosarian out here in Roseville, California, and we're gonna take you on a tour of your life to show you some of the best and most beautiful roses that you'll ever see. Let's go take a look right now.
Well, hi, Kevin. I'm Linda Knowles. You already knew that. We are in Roseville, California, which is really funny because I have all these roses, so it's Roseville. I'm really happy about that. And this is my backyard of only a quarter acre, kind of a standard backyard size, quarter acre. And when I saw my setup here with just grass, I knew I wanted roses. And so here we are, quarter acre, backyard. And this is my tranquility and serenity.
Can you break down a little bit like the different styles of roses, the types that people plant there? I know we have standard, there's climbers and whatnot. Can you get into that a little bit?
Sure. So, and I have all of those.
You do?
Hybrid teas are kind of everybody's favorite, maybe entry to rose growing.
And that's the typical rose bush,
that's
the upright growth.
Look of the florist rose.
Yeah.
So it's got that beautiful circular rose at the top, and everybody loves hybrid teas. I do too. Floribundas would be the next. They're easy to grow, and they usually have more roses on the bush. More
flowers
blooms.
In abundance.
Yeah. So Floribunda kind of sounds like that anyway. And so they go well with hybrid teas. They're kind of the same height most of the time.
I've got a few mixed in together at my house too.
Yeah, so they mix together really well. They're happy together. Look at the spectacular bush of Prosperity. So Prosperity is a hybrid musk, and it has small flowers in clusters on each stem. This is from 1919, and it's a climber. It's a large lady, and she's just spectacular in the spring especially, but does bloom all year. Prosperity is a climbing rose, but climbing roses don't do this on their own. They would just grow out and fall apart. So there are wires that are screwed into the brick, and Prosperity's main canes are tied onto the wires. There are 3 rows of wires that keep her up against the brick wall. So this is a fairly new rose. I think I've had it for 5 years. This is called Koko Loko. It's a week's rose, and it's that favorite new color, especially of brides in their bouquets, that kind of brownish, rosy brownish. And it's a Floribunda, and it's just a very different kind of color that people are kind of mad for. So going from the Koko Loko, the kind of brown, we go into the kind of mauvey lavender. This is actually called Violet's Pride, Violet from Downton Abbey. And by the same hybridizer, this is a week's rose. And this is a lovely light lavender. So I love the orange section and Chihuly rose. I have 2 bushes here, one in front. And I love the Chihuly. Tom Carruth of Weeks Roses tried to create the kind of light and color of Dale Chihuly, the glassblower artist. He has installations all over in Seattle, Las Vegas, and sometimes they're blue or green, but a lot of them are the yellow oranges. And Tom Carruth of Weeks Roses is just a marvel. He retired in 2015 and now is the curator at the Huntington Park Library Rose Garden in San Marino, Southern California. Since I like verticality in my garden, to me it's kind of too boring to have everything the same height.
Just horizontal and on one plane.
So the verticality really works. And my arbors, most of those are flowered climbers. Yeah, large flowered climbers. And that's the category. And so climbing roses, a lot of those climbing roses happen to be old garden roses. Old garden roses are before 1900.
And are these oftentimes some of those are the parent varieties to some of the like the new hybrids where they've gone back and hybridized
Everything has come from the either China species or the Middle Eastern early roses or the French roses. So those have been hybridized. So those are the ancestors.
Wow, that's so cool.
I know, it is cool.
Now you talked about verticality. On the way in here, I was walking through a tunnel of your climbers, and it was like being inside of a rose bush.
You know,
it was so gorgeous.
you really look at the roses more. When I'm in a rose park where there are just, you know, rows and rows and rows, you just kind of see the colorway and you don't really look at the individual rows. So when you're walking through that, you are actually inside the roses and they're just kind of greeting you and they're looking out, and you just see the beauty of each one because they're more eye level and then up. Yeah.
So then that's a rose allée, and what exactly is that?
So the
Where
French
did you learn
word
this technique?
for alley is allée. And so in my favorite gardens in France, my favorite garden was Roseraie de l'Allée, and they do have the huge arbors with the allées, and the arbors just go on and on with the roses over them. And I was enchanted by that, so I wanted to recreate that. I love combining roses on an arbor, and the colors just always seem to go together, but you might have in mind what you want. For instance, the darker pink with the lighter pink, I really love that one. This is a sweet rose, a miniature climbing rose called Renee. And this is an old garden rose called Madame Isaac Perrier. It's French, and the fragrance is fabulous. Ah, yes, that old garden smell.
Now, your landscape here is just absolutely breathtaking. It's gorgeous, but it wasn't always like this. It was probably a pretty normal backyard when you started.
Normal backyard. When I just started, it was a clean palette. There were no trees, and it was grass wall to wall. And yeah, and so I knew I was going to make some changes, and I had to formulate what I was going to do. So I just first set the perimeter. So I made the allée, I put roses on the perimeter, just easy stuff. I envisioned some sort of a structure, and it wasn't until I saw a picture in a magazine that I saw one with this kind of a rounded metal top that I had an ironmonger make. Yeah.
I'm glad you did, because your garden, except for this few square feet, is raging warm. It has so much sunshine, which I guess is probably good for your roses.
Right. However, the roses along the house in the allée get only half-day sunshine, most of them. And in Sacramento, that works.
Yeah, it's enough warmth, enough sun.
Yeah, and the ones in the shade, that works as well. So this is Moonstone rose, and you would think that you cannot grow big roses or any rose in the shade. This was happenstance. When I first planted the roses along here, this Photinia and the other bush were low, and so they were fine. And as it grew, the roses still remained. They're still healthy in the shade, but this is the Sacramento area. I have a whole row of roses that are slow to get started, but once they start, they keep on blooming.
What are some of the layout concepts? I know you've been heavily influenced by French horticultural styles and landscaping. So I noticed you have this incredible landscape just behind me. And what is that, and how did you conceive?
Okay, so that was grass. That was the last section of grass that I hadn't taken out. And I thought, what can I put here? Oh yeah, I love the Parterre Gardens in France. And the parterre refers to the little geometrical shapes. And then in the middle, I thought, what am I gonna put in the middle? A fountain? No, I already have a fountain. A big piece of pottery? That's pretty expensive. I know, a lime tree.
Who doesn't love limes?
All right. And so a lime tree is in the middle.
Beautiful, sweet-smelling flowers,
Yeah.
edible fruit.
Yeah, why not? And then I knew I wanted a rose in every one, and so that's how that developed.
Well, it's a beautiful contrast, and I think it adds to the beauty of your garden, whereas some of the roses and the pathways kind of have a more kind of a natural feel to them, and it's a little bit more organic feeling, and then you have this beautiful kind of geometric area where it's a little bit more symmetrical, and you have it's pretty cool.
I love classic design, but within classic structure, you can go a little bit wild. So the allée could be straight, but I wanted it more meandering. The arbors are actually straight, but then the pathway's more meandering.
Kind of flows like a little river.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Now, what is editing the garden, and do you edit your garden?
I edit all the time just by either keeping a plant the size as it is, or if something dies out or there's a space, then I put something else in, either the same or something related. And it's always a work of keeping it the right size and not letting things get overblown. That's why we prune, for one thing.
Yeah.
And pruning the climbers is important, keeping the pathway open and not having them, do all
Become
of that.
just a bushy bramble. Yeah.
Yeah.
Pruning's
And then I
necessary.
can redo pots now and then and things like that.
Now, does this garden attract pollinators, and how did you add to that? Now, we talked about some other plants that you've added.
Well,
but what are some of
giving
your
the
favorite pollinator
biodiversity,
attractors?
giving the biodiversity. And my parterres, I like to play around with different plants attracting pollinators, like the hummingbirds, give them a tubular kind of flower. And then I have bees, ladybugs.
I can see them all flying around behind
I know,
you.
birds every morning, evening, and during the day. And everybody's working on cleaning up the garden.
So how do people react to your garden when they come here? Because this isn't a typical backyard landscape.
Last year when I had the wine and roses that we open our garden for, I invited my dentist and his wife, because when I told my dentist that I had 300 roses, he went home and told his wife, and she said, is that the podcast that I saw from Green Acres?
What? That's awesome.
And she really wanted to come. And so he brought her and her sister. She looked at me like I was Taylor Swift.
A little Swiftie, a little buddy. That's awesome.
She came in and went, I love your garden.
Yeah.
So it's fun when people really appreciate.
Yeah.
Really appreciate.
Didn't happen overnight.
Appreciate all of the, the beauty and the work you've gone to.
I think we're all a bit thirsty to see some beautiful things and to see abundance of life.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I love it. I think you created something very special here. Your yard here is just incredible. I mean, it's breathtaking, it's beautiful. What does this place mean to you? What is this space? How does it make you feel? And what do you think other people can take from it?
I hope other people take some of the tranquility and peace that I find here, but I find the garden is my therapy and my retreat, and it allows me just to breathe. And I found that even when I had 12 roses, 10 roses. So I hope other people find joy and relaxation in whatever plants they want to grow. But even if you have one rose in a pot, you're gonna love it. You're just gonna love it. And just the joy of seeing growth and beauty and the cycle of life, nature, the times of the year, the seasons, and every season is going to bring something. I love spring. Yeah.
Linda, I love it. I love you. I think you're amazing. This place is incredible, and I think it's going to inspire a lot of people to maybe dabble in creating their own paradise, their own oasis at their homes.
I hope so.
Because it doesn't have to be this grand or this huge. It can be it can be a container. It can be a little part of your side yard.
It really
maybe just injecting, maybe editing a few roses into that landscape.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for this, and I really appreciate what you've done here.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It's been lovely talking to you.